Hi everyone, so for today, as I mentioned in my previous video, I'm going to be showing you how to host a Zoom call and how to work all the functions, or at least some of the functions, on your Zoom call. So to get started for today, all I'm going to do is log on to zoom.us, and it's going to take me to this page. Now, since I haven't used Zoom since yesterday, I'm going to have to sign in. The sign in button is right here. It's the third from the left button at the top of the page. So I'm going to click sign in. And here, as we talked about yesterday, when you created your account, it's going to ask you to sign in using your email address. So it's either the email address that you use and the password, or you're going to sign in with the email address that you have connected to Google or Facebook. So as I demonstrated yesterday, which by the way, I would highly, highly recommend watching that video before you proceed with this one, because a lot of the information that I talked about yesterday is something that I'm going to be referencing today. So I'm going to sign in with Google, and it's going to ask me which account. This is the account that I use, and I'm just going to sign into there, and it's going to take me to this page. Now, when you log in, if the menu on the left, if you're not already in the meetings category, which is highlighted in blue, you're going to want to go to there to start your meeting. Now, I talked about how to set up the meeting and how to schedule it yesterday. And as you can see, I only have one meeting scheduled because this is a relatively new Zoom account. So I only have one on here. I know exactly which one it is because I have the topic written down. I can remember my meeting by the topic that I have written down and also the time. So as you can see from what time it is up here, I'm a little bit late, which is perfectly okay. Remember that Zoom is not going to hold you to the time that you have your meeting scheduled for. It's really just more of a guide for your participants on the other end of the Zoom call. So I have my meeting ID. If you remember yesterday, I copied and texted a whole bunch of information that Zoom provided me with. I texted those to my participants so they know how, when, and where to come on. So they have the meeting ID, however, they're also provided with the Zoom link, which is going to help them get on. So now that I've explained all that information, I'm ready to start my Zoom call. So starting a Zoom call is very, very simple once you already have it scheduled. Yesterday, we pretty much did all the hard work when it comes to scheduling the call. Now, all we have to do is click the start button right here. Now, as soon as I start the video call, there's going to be something called a waiting room. Now, I do not want my participants coming on the call before I'm ready to let them on. So as soon as I go on, it's going to ask me to click some buttons to start the call, which I'm going to explain. However, my participants are not going to come on until I tell them to. So let's just get started right here, and I'll explain everything in 1 minute. So we're going to press start. Here it's going to ask me to open the Zoom application, which is down here. As soon as I press allow, it's going to ask me to open that. Now, the reason it's going to ask me to open that is because I already have the Zoom app downloaded. In another video, I'm going to explain how to download Zoom. It's very quick, very simple, but for today, I already have it downloaded, so it's just going to open it. And this will work if you already have Zoom downloaded on your computer, if you already have the app on your phone. So remember, as soon as I click allow, it's going to open another application, so just be prepared for that. All right, I'm going to click allow, and it's going to connect. That's perfectly okay. It's just the Wi-Fi. And here we're going to have two separate tabs as the host of the video. So as the host of the video, I'm already on the call. You can see down here, I'm the only participant, and that's because I haven't told my participants, which would be my family in India, to come on the call yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click join with computer audio. And as soon as I click join with computer audio, my participants who come on the call are going to be able to hear my voice. So I want them to hear my voice, but I don't want them to see my face. So I'm just going to click join with computer audio. So I'm on the call now. I already was on the call, however, now that they can hear my voice, I'm officially on the call. Now, there's no one else here because I haven't told them to come on yet. However, I don't want my face to be shown in this video. So as you can see, my video is not on. There's a little red dash over the video button. However, my microphone is green, so that means that they can hear my voice, but they cannot see my face. Now, as soon as I ask them to join the call, they are going to come onto the call, and there's going to be something called a waiting room. What a waiting room is is as soon as I ask them to come on the call, they're not going to be able to join right away because I want to be able to control who comes on the call. So as soon as they come in, there's going to be a button right here, and it's going to ask me to admit them. Now, I can choose whether or not I want to admit them. In this case, I'm going to want to admit both of them because I asked them to come on the call. However, this is just a way for me to control who I have on the call. So right now, I'm going to ask them to come on. Also, about these buttons down here, I don't want to go over the rest of them right here today because they're a little bit more complicated and they're not really something that I think is going to be beneficial for us today. So as we can see right here, I asked them to come on the call, and as soon as it might take a few tries for them to be admitted into the room. Sometimes just little technology glitches. I assure you it will work eventually. Just keep pressing admit and follow the instructions. As soon as 2 people enter the waiting room, instead of clicking the admit button, which I was just about to do, you have to go to the waiting room and press C waiting room. As you can see, they're here. All I'm going to do is as soon as I press admit, they are going to enter the call. So just be prepared for that. I pressed admit. It appears that it only took me 1 try. There we go. That only took me 1 try this time. Sometimes it just takes a little press of a button. However, I can also close out this waiting room if I want to. So right now it's in the way of my call. So I don't want that on right now. So I'm just going to press close. Okay. So as you can see here, my participants are on the call. I'm going to demonstrate now just some different ways that can be used to control your call. So right here, as you can see, both of my participants have their video on. And as you can see from the dash over the camera right here and through the square with my name in it in the top of the page, my video is not on. However, it's clear that their video is on. And it's also clear that their audio is on through the fact that they don't have a red microphone in their screen. So right now I'm going to ask just one of them to mute themselves so that I can show how their audio is muted. So if you look in the square for her video, you can see that the microphone is red, which means, and there's a dash over it, which means that her audio is not on. However, Shruti here does not have that red microphone, which means that we can hear her. So Shruti, I'm just going to ask you to say something, and it will demonstrate that she can talk. So if you can hear that right there, she just said something, and that means that we can hear her. However, Shivani here is muted, which means that we cannot hear her. Now, one of the great things about Zoom, as I was saying before, is that the video is not the only thing that can be controlled. So I am giving instructions for this video, so I do want them to be able to hear my voice, but I don't want them to be able to see my video. So for instance, if they were to want to also block out their video, they can do that. So I'm going to ask them both to stop their video right now, and it'll show how they can only be heard. So it's going to take me back to this screen as soon as their video is blocked, and now I'm going to ask them to come back on. So that was just a demonstration. The screen will look like this. It'll go back to this page if no one is able to be seen. All right, we're back to this screen now. So now that I've explained how to mute your video and how to mute your sound, and how to stop your video, I am going to just demonstrate how the different boxes work. So right now I have Shivani and I have Shruti on my call. However, if Shivani, for instance, were to mute herself, please mute yourself, Shivani, and she was also to turn off her video, please turn off your video, Shivani, she would only be observing the conversation between Shruti and I. So right now, Shruti's on the other end of the call, and let's say we were to have a conversation, or this were to be a presentation we were making to our audience, Shivani would be able to completely block herself out and only listen to us. However, if she wanted to engage in the conversation, but she didn't want her face to show, she could also do that as well. The same thing goes for Shruti. You can have any combination of video on, microphone on. It doesn't matter. If I wanted to turn on my video, I could. However, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. So now that I've gone over all the different features of a Zoom call, I'm ready to leave my meeting. So as the host of the video, the way this works is that as soon as I leave the meeting, the video is ended. However, if one of my participants, so either Shruti or Shivani, were to leave the call would still be on. Or if both of them were to leave the call would still be on. However, I would be the only one on it. The only way that they'll get kicked off the call is if I leave. So as I'm just going to demonstrate here, if I click X, it's going to give me three options. It's going to say cancel, leave meeting, and end meeting for all. So if I click leave meeting, these two will be left here on the call. However, if I click end meeting for all, I'm the only one who has this feature. They don't have it, so if they exit out, just them will leave the meeting. However, as the host of the video, the one who scheduled the video, if I click end meeting for all, that means that we will all be kicked off. I don't want to do that right now. Right now, I'm just going to click cancel because I want to demonstrate how one of them can leave the meeting. So right now, I'm going to ask Shivani to leave the video, to leave the Zoom call, and it's going to demonstrate how one of my participants can leave the call. And right now, you can see Shruti's face in the full picture because it's only two of us on the Zoom call. However, there's a different screen showing when there were multiple of us on the call. So now that Shivani has left, it's just me and Shruti. However, I have the power to end the call. However, if Shruti were to leave, as Shivani just did, it would still be just me left on the call. But I want to show how to end the meeting for all. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click exit, and I'm going to click end meeting for all. And now there is absolutely nobody else left on the Zoom call. The meeting is over because I ended it. Now, if you want to review your Zoom call, you can just click the back button here, right here, and it'll take you to this page. So now that I've finished my Zoom meeting, I can click delete. Now, if I want to remember that I had this Zoom call, I can just leave all this information right here on the screen. I don't ever have to deal with it again, but if I want to have it as a record that I had that Zoom call, I can have it right here. However, if I want to be organized and I want it gone, I can also press delete. I'm not going to do that right now because for myself, I want to have it as a record. However, I just want to point out that that's an option that's available if we need it to be. So that's about all that I have to go over for today. I will be doing another video on how to download and run this Zoom application, which I use for my Zoom call. But for now, really all you need for the other video information that I gave out is all you really need is the internet to be able to access this page on Zoom. But you do need the Zoom application in order to go onto a video call, as I just demonstrated. I really hope that the information I gave was helpful. I know that a lot of the different things on Zoom, all the little different on and offs that are on that call can be a little bit confusing. Please do not hesitate to reach out at this email, communicationtutorials@gmail.com. If you have any questions whatsoever, I'll be happy to answer them. And I can also do more videos by request. So I just want to thank everyone for watching, and I really hope that this video was helpful.